I never thought my greatest professional achievement would also become the catalyst for my most public humiliation. Yet there I was, standing in a gleaming conference room on the 47th floor of Quantum Dynamics headquarters, watching CEO Victor Blake's face twist with manufactured disdain. In that moment I realized something important. Sometimes success makes you the biggest target. My name is Sarah Martinez. Until yesterday I was the head of quantum computing research at one of the world's most prestigious tech companies. Today I'm being called a fraud. Funny how quickly things can change. The morning had begun like any other. I arrived early as usual, my mind buzzing with the breakthrough I had achieved just weeks before. A quantum computing architecture that could maintain coherence 100 times longer than any existing system. This wasn't just incremental progress. It was the Holy Grail of quantum computing. The key to making these machines practical for everyday use. The lobby's marble floors gleamed under the morning sun as I swiped my key card and nodded to James, the security guard I'd greeted every day for 6 years. "Big meeting today, Dr. Martinez?" he asked, noticing my slightly more formal attire. "Just the quarterly review," I replied, smoothing my charcoal blazer. "Though I do have something special to present." If only I'd noticed the subtle shift in his expression, the way his eyes darted away too quickly. But I was too preoccupied, mentally rehearsing the technical details of my presentation. The elevator ride to the 47th floor gave me a moment to reflect. 6 years ago, Victor Blake had personally recruited me from MIT, where I was completing postdoctoral research in quantum computing. "We need visionaries," he told me. "People unafraid to think beyond conventional limitations." I believed him then. Quantum dynamics had been my dream job. Unlimited research funding, brilliant colleagues, and the chance to push the boundaries of possibility. For 5 years I gave everything to this company. I missed family events, worked through weekends, and poured my heart into solving problems others deemed impossible. The quantum lab became my second home. Its hum of equipment and the soft blue glow of monitoring screens felt more familiar than my own apartment. My team, brilliant scientists and engineers I had handpicked, became like family. That's why the first sign that something was wrong hit me so hard. When I entered the conference room, it wasn't the usual quarterly review gathering of department heads and technical leads. Instead, the room was filled with unfamiliar faces. Men in expensive suits, members of the board I had never met. And in the corner stood Victor's new strategic advisor, James Morrison, wearing the smug smile I had grown to distrust in recent months. "Sarah, good of you to join us," Victor said, his voice carrying that artificial warmth I'd learned to fear. "We've been discussing your recent claims about a breakthrough in quantum coherence." The way he emphasized claims made my stomach tighten. Still, I set up my presentation and began. "As you can see, we've managed to maintain quantum coherence for periods exceeding—" "That's enough," Victor cut me off, rising to his feet. "We've reviewed your work, Sarah, or should I say what you claim is your work." The room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Frozen in place, I watched as Victor circled the table with deliberate, theatrical steps. "Did you really think we wouldn't find out?" His voice dripped with false disappointment. "That we wouldn't uncover your elaborate fraud?" "Fraud," I managed, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. "What are you talking about?" Victor pressed a button and new slides appeared on the screen, slides I had never seen before. They showed falsified data, manipulated test results, all crafted to make it look as though I had fabricated my breakthrough. "We've discovered that you've been falsifying research data for months," Victor announced. "Manipulating results to support your impossible claims. Worse, you've attempted to file patents under your own name for technology developed with company resources." The blood drained from my face. They weren't exposing me, they were stealing my work. Discrediting me before I could claim ownership of the discovery. My mind flashed back to 3 weeks earlier when I'd caught James Morrison lurking in my lab after hours. He claimed he was just familiarizing himself with the facilities. "That's not true," I said firmly, anger rising now. "Every result has been independently verified by my team. Dr. Chen can confirm." "Dr. Chen was relocated to our Singapore facility last week," Victor interrupted smoothly. "In fact, most of your team has been reassigned. They've all signed statements raising concerns about your research practices." My head spun. My team, scattered, silenced, turned against me. How long had they been planning this? "As of this moment," Victor continued, clearly savoring his performance, You are terminated from quantum dynamics. Security will escort you to clear your desk. Any attempt to dispute our findings, or claim ownership of your so-called breakthrough, will result in immediate legal action. The room fell silent. Board members avoided my gaze. Papers shuffled uncomfortably. And across the table James Morrison's smirk widened. But something shifted inside me then. Instead of panic, a strange calm settled over me. They expected me to break. Instead, a calm washed over me. In their eagerness to steal my work, they had made one crucial mistake. They didn't know about the precautions I had taken. The real patent applications, the encrypted data on secure servers they could never touch. Those safeguards were already in place. They thought they were watching me collapse, but in reality, they were watching me realize exactly how to make them pay for their betrayal. Of course, I said quietly, gathering my things. I understand completely. Victor's triumphant expression flickered, thrown off by my composure. As security approached to escort me out, I paused at the door and looked back at the room. Just one thing, Victor. You might want to check the patent office records tomorrow morning. And maybe have your lawyers review the company's position in the quantum computing market. Things could get interesting. The last thing I saw before the doors closed was Victor's confident smile beginning to crack. In the elevator, flanked by 2 security guards, I allowed myself a small smile. They thought they had taken everything. My job, my reputation, my life's work. But in trying to steal my breakthrough, they had given me something invaluable. The perfect opportunity for justice. What Victor Blake didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I had seen this coming months ago. I had prepared. By tomorrow morning they would understand exactly what they had done. And, more importantly, what I was about to do. For now, I had a desk to clear, a plan to set in motion, and a very interesting phone call to make to the patent office. Sometimes revenge isn't about striking back immediately. Sometimes it's about waiting for the perfect moment to reveal the truth. And as I walked out of Quantum Dynamics' gleaming headquarters for the last time, I knew that moment was closer than they could possibly imagine. The next morning I sat in my home office, 3 monitors glowing with patent office records, encrypted logs and Quantum Dynamics' plummeting stock price. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since 5 a.m. Reporters, bloggers, industry analysts, all desperate to confirm the mysterious new quantum computing patent that had just gone public. A patent not filed under Quantum Dynamics' name. I smiled, remembering a conversation I'd had 6 months earlier with my old MIT mentor, Dr. Alexander Chin, no relation to my former colleague. Sarah, she'd warned, brilliance isn't enough in this industry. You must protect yourself. She had been right. That's why I filed the patents through a separate company I'd quietly established long before the breakthrough, Martinez Quantum Solutions. The applications had been sealed, timed to release exactly 1 day after the quarterly review. My phone buzzed again. Maria Torres from the Wall Street Journal. Dr. Martinez, she said, I'm looking at a patent filing describing a revolutionary quantum computing architecture. One capable of maintaining coherence for periods previously thought impossible. But, it's not filed under quantum dynamics. That's correct, I replied calmly. The technology was developed independently, through my own research company. But weren't you employed at Quantum Dynamics until yesterday? I was. But my contract explicitly allowed for independent research and patent filings, provided I didn't use company resources. Something Mr. Blake conveniently forgot when he accused me of fraud. There was a pause as she processed this. Then, we're also seeing unusual movement in Quantum Dynamics stock. They were set to announce a major quantum computing initiative. Were they? I said innocently. That's interesting considering the core technology they were counting on is now patented by someone else. By 10 a.m. the story had exploded. Quantum Dynamics stock plunged 15% in the first hour. Their much-hyped announcement was in ruins. The technology they had tried to steal was now worthless to them without my patent rights. Then an email arrived from Dr. Chin in Singapore. They threatened our whole team, she wrote. Said they'd destroy our careers if we didn't sign statements against you. But I kept copies of all the original data proving the breakthrough was yours. Where should I send it? I was ready. Send it to the encrypted server. And check your email in an hour. You'll find some job opportunities waiting. Because while Victor had been busy orchestrating my downfall, I had been in talks with Aurora Tech, Quantum Dynamics' fiercest competitor. They had followed my research for years. They knew what my breakthrough meant. My phone rang again, Victor's name flashing. I let it go to voicemail. Sarah. His voice was tight, panicked. There seems to have been a misunderstanding. We should talk. The board is willing to reconsider yesterday's events. 3 more voicemails followed, each more desperate. The last was from James Morrison himself. You don't understand what you're doing, he hissed. You're destroying billions in market value. We can fix this. Name your price. I didn't bother replying. I had a more important meeting to prepare for. At 2 p.m. I walked into Aurora Tech headquarters. 47 minutes later, I emerged as their new chief quantum officer. With full control of my research, a compensation package that made my quantum dynamics salary look like pocket change, and the resources to bring my scattered team back together. By day's end, Aurora had extended offers to every researcher Victor had tried to silence. The next morning my lawyer called. Quantum Dynamics was threatening to sue. Let them, I replied. I have something they don't. The patent, he asked. No, I said, opening my laptop. The truth. While Victor and James were busy fabricating evidence, I had been documenting everything. Morrison's late-night intrusions into my lab, the forced reassignments of my team, every manipulated dataset. Dr. Chen's saved files were just the beginning. I had recordings, logs, an encrypted chain of evidence proving the breakthrough was mine, developed independently of quantum dynamics resources. But the most damning piece of evidence came from an unlikely source. James, the security guard. Troubled by what he'd overheard, he had kept his own logs of Morrison's after-hours activities, including the night he caught him attempting to breach my locked research files. By the end of the week, quantum dynamics stock had fallen 40%. Their initiative was dead. The board convened an emergency meeting, and by Monday, both Victor Blake and James Morrison had resigned to pursue other opportunities. The press had a field day. Quantum computing breakthrough exposes corporate espionage. Innovation and integrity, the Martinez method. But the real victory came 3 months later, when Aurora unveiled the first prototype quantum computer using my architecture. The demonstration was flawless. Problems that would have taken classical computers millennia were solved in minutes. Victor was in the audience. I made sure he received an invitation. He left halfway through just as I explained how my worthless research had changed the future of computing. Afterward, Dr. Chen embraced me like a proud parent. You didn't just protect yourself, she said. You protected the integrity of scientific research itself. That's worth more than any patent. He was right. Over the next year, our platform became the industry standard. Researchers once afraid of corporate theft began publishing openly again, knowing that the Martinez case had set a powerful precedent. My team flourished at Aurora. Dr. Chen became head of research operations. And James, the security guard? He now runs our entire corporate security division, protecting innovators from the kind of betrayal I endured. As for quantum dynamics, they eventually recovered but never regained their dominance. Sometimes when I pass their gleaming headquarters, I don't feel anger. I feel gratitude. Their betrayal taught me something invaluable. True innovation isn't only about breakthroughs. It's about foresight to protect them and courage to defend them. Last week, I gave a keynote address at MIT's graduation. Looking out at the bright young faces, I shared the real lesson of my story. In science as in life, brilliance isn't enough. You must also be wise. Document everything. Trust your instincts. And remember, sometimes the best response to those who try to diminish you is to rise so high they can't reach you. The applause was thunderous, but I wasn't listening for it. I was watching the front row, seeing the same passion for discovery that had once driven me. They would face their own Victor Blakes and James Morrisons, but thanks to what happened at quantum dynamics, they would be better prepared. Because in the end, truth doesn't just prevail. It transforms industries. And sometimes the greatest revenge isn't fighting back. It's moving forward so powerfully that your success becomes your answer. That's not just a lesson in quantum computing. It's a lesson in life.